welcome back to Haley's Comments. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be mashing together two different ideas. First off, I wanted to tell the story of how I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I thought it would be a fun way to do it in a mukbang, because it's obviously not that long of a story. I have a vegan veggie burger here today. Looks so freaking good, doesn't it? Yum. So it just comes with some fries. They'll usually put a sauce on it, but I asked for it without the sauce. This is from a local place, so otherwise I would be giving you guys all that information. And then I'm just going to be drinking a beer today. They should have it this way. First bite. I'm hungry. Okay, so the first thing to know is that I had all of the classic like ADHD signs, as I kind of mentioned in my poem, which I'll put up here, growing up. But it wasn't clear to everyone around me that I had ADHD because that's before ADHD was like talked about. It just kind of started gaining momentum as I got older and around the time I was diagnosed. But when I was a child, not a lot of kids like were diagnosed with ADHD. A lot of people just didn't really know anything about ADHD, so I mean, it was obvious that I had ADHD if you knew what the signs were. I obviously did it, and my parents did it, and so I mean, yeah, like I never did well in school. I was always struggling in school, like I mentioned in my poem. I always got bad grades, but it was never really that much of a concern until by the time I got to high school. Hang on, I think the camera's like slightly crooked and it's annoying the shit out of me. So.
There we go, okay.
Anyway, by the time I got to high school, you know, grades started to really matter. I mean, I always wanted to get good grades when I was younger, but by the time high school rolls around, you know that you need to be getting good grades because you know you need to have a good GPA, you know you need to get into college, like that sort of thing.
I mean, I dropped out of college, but
you get what I'm saying. And so when I started to do really bad in high school, that's kind of when it became more of a concern, especially to my parents, because they could see how hard I was trying. You know, I was studying and studying and studying and just like not getting any results. A really big sign that I had it was, so I had this final, and the final was for a web design class. Like, you had to make a website. And the whole year I was doing terrible in this web design class. I mean, I had like a C, so I wasn't doing well. Was just like, follow these very specific directions and get this specific outcome. People with ADHD are not good at following directions, especially, I mean, I was 15, so young people with ADHD cannot follow directions very well. It's just like we get lost along the way. There's just too many things to think about for us to get to the like clear message, get to the end, you know? So I always did really bad on those, but then we had the final, and the final was make a website from scratch. And all we had to do was like copy this other website. It didn't have to be exact. It was like our own recreation of that website. I did so well and I loved it, and I spent hours and hours and hours creating it. I could not stop. I was just so focused on it, which is hyper-focused for those of you who aren't familiar with ADHD. I wasn't at the time. I just knew that I really liked doing it, and so I spent like all of my time on that, and then I like didn't have any time left over to study for the rest of my finals. Not that it would have mattered, because whenever I studied, it literally like went in one year out the other. It made no difference at all in my grades. I just spent so much time on one thing that I didn't have time for the rest. That's just a textbook example of ADHD, like hyper-focusing on one thing and then having no attention left for anything else. I was always running late to school. I was very emotional. I had a lot of meltdowns. I didn't really have a lot of friends because I didn't really fit in anywhere. I was pretty defiant. I was like into changing my hair color and stuff against what my parents wanted me to do. I was really depressed and anxious. Literally, I was like a walking definition for a teenager with ADHD. Like, it was very obvious. But anyway, yeah, one day my dad just came into my room and he's like,
I made an appointment to see if you have ADHD.
Actually, I think he said ADD, because back in the day there were two different things. But anyway, not important. And my reaction was just kind of like,
yeah, right, like, I don't have ADHD.
The thing is, you go your whole life believing that you're stupid, because that's the signs that you get from everyone. You're getting bad grades, everyone's always mad at you, like, you just believe you're an idiot. And so I thought my dad was just trying to make excuses for me. So anyway, I'm not really too fazed by it. I'm just kind of like,
okay, sure, whatever, I'll go, but like, you're wrong.
I don't know if I said that, but that's kind of the reaction I had. I was like,
Yeah, I don't have that. What are you talking about?
which is funny because I didn't know anything about ADHD. So I don't know why I was so set on the idea that I didn't have it. It wasn't even that I didn't want to have it either. Like, I was completely indifferent and I just thought, there's no way I have it. So a couple weeks go by and we end up going to the psychiatrist. And I'd never been to anything like that before. I had imagined myself going to a doctor's office. You know, you go, and it's just like a little room and all that. Just you and the psychiatrist, and they're just asking you questions about your life. But yeah, she just starts asking me questions about my life. And at first it's very like informal, open-ended questions. And then she pulls out a book. And then she starts reading off a whole bunch of yes or no questions. The book was a DSM, now I know. So she starts asking me all these different questions, and every single question I'm saying
Yes.
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 and the questions were very clearly, if you have ADHD, you're gonna say yes. I didn't know all that much about ADHD, but you can just assume what most of it is. But there's a lot of myths, don't get me wrong, like watch my videos, please. The overview, the very general overview of what ADHD is pretty clear. I was sitting there and I was just saying yes to every question, and I just like am giggling halfway through. Because I know I'm failing the test. Or passing. I know that she's about to diagnose me with ADHD. And I'm laughing because I'm just like,
Oh.
realization moment. Like,
I guess I do have ADHD. This actually explains my entire life.
but then she starts asking me more questions, and I'm saying a few yeses, but mostly no's. Then I was confused because I was like, do I have ADHD? These fries are so freaking good. Oh my gosh. So at the time, I didn't really know what happened. Nowadays, I know that the questions that she asked that I said yes to were inattentive based. So that's why I was diagnosed with ADD, which is now considered ADHD inattentive type. And the questions that I said no to were the hyperactive type or combined type. You could have combined type. But anyway, yeah, we left. And then like a few days later or something like that, my dad comes in, or maybe it was that night, I don't know. But later on, my dad comes into my room again and asks me about medication. I remember him kind of explaining it to me like,
There's medicine that can help you do better in school.
and I was just immediately like,
Yes. Let's do it.
because I want to do better in school. I'm so sick and tired of studying and studying and studying and not retaining anything. And the thing is, nowadays, like, I know that I didn't make an educated decision. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I don't think my dad knew what we were getting me into, because they don't tell you everything. These are these possible side effects, but they don't tell you how it's really gonna be. You know, they make it sound like,
Oh, maybe this will happen. No.
they really downplay it, because if people knew what these psychiatric medications were actually like, no one would choose to be on them. Like, the side effects of these drugs are not side effects. Like, if you go to the doctor and you just got a tooth taken out or something, or some sort of surgery, and they give you medicine, and it's like, here's the medicine, here are potential side effects. Most of the time, those side effects don't affect you. Like, there's a small chance that you're gonna have to deal with those side effects, and so you risk it and you take the drug. And so that's why I wasn't too concerned about the potential side effects. Psychiatric medications, their side effects are not side effects. They're just things that will happen to you, but that's not what it's intended for, you know? So like appetite loss on ADHD medication. I've barely ever heard of someone not experiencing appetite loss. Like, that's just a part of ADHD medication. I remember him telling me that it might make me less creative. That's the only side effect I really remember him mentioning. I'm sure that's the only side effect that probably really stuck out to him, as like, you know, I'm a very creative person, so if I take something that might make me less creative, then that's kind of a big issue, you know? Dealing with the loss of appetite, that's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I remember him telling me that, and I was just like,
Oh.
well, we can just watch it. Right? We can just pay attention to me. If I start to become less creative, then I can just get off of it. And he's like,
Okay, that's fair.
and it seems like a good idea, right? It seems like, that, okay, that makes sense. But the problem is it happens so slowly over such a long period of time. You don't notice it until you wake up one day and like haven't written a poem in 3 years. So anyway, that's a tangent for another day. You know, I got on medication. I'm gonna do more videos about medication, about my feelings on medication. And the weird thing is, I don't think I was ever like straight up told that I had ADHD or ADD or whatever, you know? But I knew that I had it because we started treating it. Alright, I'm not gonna let you guys down again. I feel like I've been doing that a little in my mukbangs. I haven't been eating the full thing. We're gonna eat the full thing today. Normally I'd like save half of this for another day, but normally I'm not making mukbangs. But yeah, so those of you who just found my channel, maybe through this video, might have ADHD yourself, please comment down below how you were diagnosed. I'd love to start a dialogue in the comments, or just whatever, you know, your experience with ADHD or whatever. Next week, I'm going to be doing a video about what it's like to have ADHD, so hopefully I can fill you guys in. It's not going to be just like a list of symptoms, it's going to be actual like comparisons and like descriptions of what it's like. So I'm like, really excited for that video. Let me know if you guys want me to do more videos like this. I'm doing more ADHD videos, but in terms of like a mukbang where I have a topic, I have a lot of like really short story times that are interesting, but they're just not long enough for a YouTube video, so maybe this is what I could do with them. Anyway, if you guys like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm posting videos every single week. Alright, I am done. The only thing left, little pieces of my burger that fell apart. But everything else I ate, alright, so be proud of me. Alright, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you next week. Bye, guys.